Hi, Pat and Marianne and Donna. I think we are live. I think. Y'all might have seen my desktop really quick there, but it should be popping on anytime. And let me make sure. Yay, I have a link here. Hey, Letitia. See if I can get my chat going there. Okay. Hey, Nadia. There's Dawn. Yay. Hey, Debbie. Okay, everybody's coming on. Hopefully you guys can hear me. What do you use for lighter sticker label paper? Lighter than the thicker, heavier Cricut brand. I'm going to be honest with you, Donna. I use labels I got off of Amazon. They're like a full sheet mailing labels. Now, if you're talking about glossy labels and stuff like that, Nito just sent me some samples, and I'm going to be test cutting those and printing them. And I will tell you how they came out for me. So as soon I got them today. So as soon as I can, I will do that. Hey, Marcy. Marcy is my cousin. She has joined us tonight. Hey, Tina and Angela. DMS Crafty, hi. Okay, guys, we're going to jump in. We're going to go into the basics tonight. I am going to teach you guys how to do a gatefold card and how to do a Z-fold card in Design Space, how to lay those out. And we're going to talk about card sizes. Okay, Donna, I'll show those. I'm going to pop over to the overhead now and show you what I've got. These, I usually use the printable vinyl with laminate if I need waterproof. If I don't need waterproof for my stickers, I use just mailing labels. I buy them in the full sheet off of Amazon. They're just like a paper type label. I use those. And then these are Nito labels that they sent me. I have not read everything on it yet, but I am going to test them, and I'll let you guys know what I think. They're glossy. They come in white. They come in clear. So as soon as I've tested them, I'll give you my honest opinion on them. So that's all I have on those right now. And I just cut mine on regular paper. Oops, my transition didn't work. I apologize. This is what I have. They're just blank full sheet, water resistant, super glossy. But I just got them. I haven't tested them at all yet. Not at all. Okay. Hey, Sydney, thank you for liking the stream. Awesome, awesome. So, one of the questions, I do want to pop back over to the monitor really quick. Oh, shoot, I forgot who it was now. Somebody asked me why they couldn't get through. Stephanie asked me why she's been trying to get through for a month to Cricut support. And cannot get through. And I have never heard of that happening ever before. So when she told me what number she was calling, I was like, that's not the correct number. Guys, if you go on Google and you look up support for Cricut, it's going to give you a old corporate number that doesn't go anywhere. When you want information on Cricut, the best place to go is not Google, but Cricut.com. Okay, hopefully you'll use one of my links and go over there. And if you make a purchase after clicking my links, then I will earn a commission. So just be aware of that if you click one of my links. If you don't want to do that, then just go to Cricut.com. But you want to go over there and go to their help down at the bottom of the page, and you will see these are the correct numbers. The number she was dialing was the 800 number, and it's not going to go anywhere. So make sure that when you need anything Cricut, you go to Cricut. Okay, go to Cricut, because everything that you need from Cricut is on Cricut. Trust me. A lot of that stuff that's on Google is outdated. Okay, so let's go over to the overhead now. Make sure it's going to change for me. There it goes. All right, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, and yes, Donna, I have used Cricut labels. When I need clear labels, I use Cricut. Those are the ones I use for my clears. Things that you may not have known about cards. We're going to start with the basics, guys, because it's only going to take us a few minutes to learn what we have to learn in Design Space. If you have any Design Space questions, please ask them, and we will answer those to the best of our ability. And if we need to, we will go on and post that and show you on screen. Okay? So, did my camera not switch for you guys? It's showing me it switched here. There may be a little bit of a lag going to YouTube. So that may be what it is. It's 12 a.m. in the UK. Well, I'm glad you could join us, Nadia. All right, one thing that you may not know when you're mailing cards, there are several different sizes. These are all different sizes of cards, guys. You can make any size card you want in Design Space. One thing that you want to keep in mind when you're doing that is if you're not going to make your envelopes and you're going to purchase envelopes, you need to know what sizes of cards you're making so that you buy envelopes that will fit your cards. And we're going to start first by saying regular greeting cards, when you mail them with first class postage, because I see a lot of people ask, they always charge me more to mail. If you're making a square card, they are going to charge you more, period. I don't care if it's a 3 by 5, a 3.5 by 3.5 or 5.5. It doesn't matter on those squares. And it's because they are considered non-machinable. So any square card you do, it's going to be considered non-machinable. And they are going to charge you more postage for doing it. If you mail in a padded envelope, they're going to charge you more postage for doing it. The smallest that you can mail on first class postage is a 3.5 by 5 inch card. They will not mail anything smaller than that with first class postage. Now they will with more postage, but with just a single stamp, 3.5 by 5. Okay, and the maximum with the single stamp is 6.125 by 11.5. Now that's from the post office. Now I've never mailed one at regular postage that size, but that's what was given to me on the postage website. And things may have changed, but the last time I checked, that was still true. And they all have to be 2 ounces or less. Okay, and usually mine are about 1.5 ounces, so I'm always good there. It's my sizes that get me different. Now on sizing, we're going to get into that and how you make your cards. Your business card can be cut in 3 different ways. The business card size, and it can be with a landscape fold or a portrait fold. Okay, but they are 3.5 by 2 inch. Now, I have some sizes on here. We're not going to cover the sizes on all of these, guys. I have a cheat sheet in the works for you guys on these. So I'm not going to cover them all. Your A1 sizes, these are your thank you cards and your RSVP cards. And they are called A1s. They are 3.5 by 4.875 or 3.5 by 4 7/8. Okay. And they can be flat, matted. They do landscape and portrait, all of that stuff too. Yes, you can mail a square card in a rectangle envelope, and if it fits and it's under those requirements, you can get regular postage on them. Thank you for reminding me of that, Marianne. That is absolutely true. I even saw that on one of the postal websites. So you can do that. Then you have your A2 cards. Your A2s are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, that is an A2 card. Then you have what is called a 4-bar, and it is a 5 1/8 by 3 3/4. That's what it is. Oh, I got it written right there. I couldn't read it. And then we have a A6 card. It's 4 1/2 by 6 1/4. And then one of your most popular sizes. Did I miss my A2? Oh, wait. My A2s. A2s vary. No, that's right. That's right. That was my A2. This is one of your two most common sizes, your A2 and your A7s. And your A2 is your Joy size. Okay? These can be cut in the Joy. They are the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then you have the A7, which is a 5 by 7. This used to be, I don't know if it still is, the most popular size. But our Joy users cannot cut this size on their machines. Okay? And we're going to talk more about these two sizes when we get in there. Because I'm not going to cover all of these. Because I am doing a cheat sheet on them. The next most common size, I'm going through my things here, is the slim line. It's coming back. And it is a 4 by 9 1/4 card. Okay? And then you have pocket cards. Okay? There's my square. Your most common square is 5 1/2. Okay? And then you have your pocket cards, which are very popular. And these are weird because your pocket is done at 5 1/4 by 7. And we'll get into that. I'm going to show you guys how to make that tonight too. And then your insert is a different size. So these are the ones that we're going to talk about mainly when we get in there. And these are the two that folds that we're going to create and how you do those. That's what it said on the postage website, Donna. It said up to 2 ounces. And I just mailed some that were 1.6, but they were in a padded envelope. So, Tina, the cheat sheet is not ready yet. It's coming. I'm working on it. And I will make sure that it gets posted on craftingwithapril.co, and it will also be in the group announcements when I finish it. But yeah, 2 ounces is what they said. Donna, don't quote me on that. Like I said, it could have changed, but it said up to 2 ounces. So let's pop over to Design Space and let's take a peek at how we can lay out our cards and the sizing. If I can get this to swap for me really quick. There we go. Hey. Yeah, Tina, I will have it up by Monday. Hopefully I'll have it up tomorrow, but it should be Monday. Is 1 ounce for first class, Marianne? Okay. I must have been looking at an old chart because the one I looked at said 2. So make that 1 ounce, guys. I was reading my notes. It said 2, and I may have just written it wrong. Who knows? But I know that square costs more. It is called a non-machinable. So I know that's right. You see 1 ounce? Okay. I'll look it up again on my sources. Maybe I clicked an old chart. Thank you for letting me know that, guys. Appreciate it. 1 ounce, guys, not 2. All right. So let's start with a new project. And we're going to go over, and I'm going to turn this grid off just because it's hard for me to see that tiny grid. And we're going to start by inserting a shape, and we're going to grab a square because our cards, most of them are square until we start getting fancy and learning everything. But this is basics, so that's what we're going with. When you're setting up a card base, we're going to start with just a square first. And remember, I said the most common size is 5.5. So if I put in 5.5, that's what I have. But all I have is a 5.5 inch square. When I fold that, it's not going to be 5.5 anymore. So I have to double one side of it. So one side of it, when I double it, I have to unlock it, and we're going to make that 11 inches. So now this is going to be with a top fold. If you do it this way, I'm just going to make it smaller. This is a top fold. I'm going to duplicate it. And then we're going to unlock it, and I'm going to make this one 11 and this one over here, the height, 5.5. So now this one is portrait and this one is landscape. With a square, that doesn't really matter because you can flip it around. But when you're working on your card and you're wanting to put in your sentiments, that's when it matters, okay? Let me just change these to a pale yellow for now. So if I were wanting to do my cards, I would first want to set up my sizing, which we have here, and we're going to lock those in. And the next thing you're going to need is a score line. So you're going to grab that score line in your basic shapes. I'm just going to grab 2. Oops. And we're going to bring one over here and one here. We know that our card is going to be 5.5. So we're going to change that score line to 5.5. Then we're going to select all, align, center. And then you're going to attach it. So now when you're laying out your card, this is the inside of your card when it cuts. Okay? You can't see the back side of it. This side over here is generally where I put my panels and stuff that are going to be on the front because it's laying flat. We can't see this in 3D. So that's why when you open up a file, generally you're going to find your writing and your text on this panel, and then your panels and your decorative elements on this panel. For this one, we have to rotate the score line 90 degrees. Oops, I don't want 90 height. I want 5.5 height. Get the right, there we go. And rotate it. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because, and I'm about to show you, and I'm going to center that, and we're going to attach. Now, if I wanted to add some text in here, some writing that said maybe happy birthday, and I got that in there and I changed it to writing, if I'm folding it with the top fold instead of a side fold, and I put it over here, my happy birthday is going to be running vertically. Then I have to rotate it and get it on there because I know which way it's going to fold. And that's why I say that it does matter if you're setting up portrait or landscape, if you're doing text or writing. It matters because if you don't rotate it, it's going to be in the wrong direction. That's the only reason that it really, really matters. Okay? So take that into account when you're setting up your card bases, and make sure that you set it up in the direction that you're going to be using the card so that your score line is your fold line. You know where your fold is going to be. Does that make sense for everybody? Super easy, super simple. Square cards, Super easy. You're only going to just double one side of it. Doesn't matter which side. It's going to determine your landscape or your portrait mode. That's it. So that's it for a square, which is your most common size, 5.5. Next, you have a 5x7. And this is where it can get kind of tricky. We're going to get our square. I'm going to change it to yellow just so you guys can see everything. And then we're going to unlock it. And we go with a 5-inch wide and a 7-inch high. And I have to double one side or the other. Well, we know that if we're using design space in our Cricuts, our maximum cut size is 11.5. So I cannot double that 7. I can double the 5 only. So that's going to change to 10 because 14 won't cut. It will be too large. Okay? And then you can duplicate and you can rotate it this way, guys, instead of doing 2. So then you have your landscape and your portrait. Okay? And you can, again, put in that score line and you want it to be 7 inches. You're going to align it and you're going to center it and attach. And again, I usually just duplicate mine and run it the other way by rotating 90 degrees. All right, super easy, super simple on those. Panels, when you're doing your card panels, and this is going to apply for all of them. And I use 5x7 the most, so I'm going to use this just to show you guys how to align things and make your panels, because I'm not going to show it on every single card that we do. I just wanted to make sure that you guys know how to do your panels on your cards. So you can get another square, and if you're going to do more than one, you can keep duplicating and changing from one square. So I'm going to make it 5x7. And I know that just fills up the front of the card. Why would I do that? I'm going to show you guys. If you're doing your text, and again, I'm just going to say happy birthday. If you're doing text and you've got it all sized and you've got it in here, and you might have more to your message than this. You may have, hope your day is awesome, whatever it is, but you've got all your text and you've got it set up. How do you know where you want it? Okay, if you want it center of that card, you need to figure out where that center is. Because if you select it now and you align center, it's going up there. That's not where we want it to write, okay? So I've got this 5x7, and that's where I start. I start with my text first. I'm going to align bottom. Going to align, center it horizontally. So now this square is exactly center of the bottom half only. And I'm going to bring my happy birthday in there. I'm just going to put it up in that upper left corner. I've got it selected. It's gray up here. And then I'm going to select just the gray square. Align, center. Now I can move that square out of the way and I can attach happy birthday, but because we have that new glitch, I have to detach my score line and attach everything together. Make sure it's to the back too. If it disappears, you're just going to have to detach and send your square to the back and then put it on there. So now I know that happy birthday is center once I fold my card. Okay? So that part's done. But now I want to do panels. So I'm going to bring that to the front. And let's say I wanted this panel to be, let's just go with the light gray. I'm going to come in here and it's unlocked. I'm going to make it a 1/4 inch smaller than my card base when it's folded. So I want that to be 4.75. And I want this to be 6.75. That's going to make it an 1/8 inch smaller all the way around. Okay, I know I took off a 1/4 inch, but that's an 1/8 inch off each side. Okay, so when you take that 1/4 inch, so if you want a 1/4 inch, you're going to have to take off a 1/2 inch. Does that make sense to everybody? So if I wanted a 1/2 inch border, I would be making this 4.5, which is a 1/2 inch smaller than my card base. And then that would give me a 1/4 inch variance all the way around the card. So you want to double whatever you want there. So if you want a 1/4, you have to double it to a 1/2. Making sense for everybody? Does anybody have any questions? So then when you layer that up, I'm going to arrange and move that backward. You've got your 3 colors. Maybe I should do white here. That looks... So you've got double panels there on top of your card. And this is where all your decorative pretties are going to go. Right, Marianne, they said we'd never need our math. So that's how you set up, and your panels are going to be just like that on all the cards except shaped cards, and we're going to get into that as well. All right, so that is your basic 5x7. That's how you do panels. That's how you align your text. And of course, with your joy, once you have a base, if you want to do like a 5x7 base, guys, and then you want to change it, say, to an A2 for a joy card, all you've got to do is come in here on your width. A A2 card is 4 1/4, so you're going to make that 8 1/2. And then your height is going to be 5 1/2. And boom, your score line's already in there. So if you make yourself one base, then you can size it down and change it without doing a lot of stuff to it. But if you're going to have your panels with it, you need to adjust those. They need to be all adjusted at the same time in a group. Okay? Center it in a group and then change your size. Hey, Bridget. I'm glad you joined us. Yay. All right. So those are your most common sizes. How to set up a pocket card. Now, this is where you guys want to get your design space open if you can, and follow along with us, because those are just basic cards. But now we're going to do a couple fancy folds, okay? And we're going to start with the pocket card. With a pocket card, you have your insert, which is just a flat insert. It's no folds or anything in it. And you want to start that out at a 4.875 or a 4 7/8 by a 6.875, which is 6 7/8. And then that is your insert card. So if you're doing like wedding invites or something like that, and you're putting them down into one of the fancy pocket cards, that's going to be your main size. Can you make it any other size? You most certainly can. I am just giving you most common sizes, okay? I'm going to duplicate that, and I know that's hard to see white on the white. Let's make these ivory. For any of you guys who didn't know how to pick your colors, you can see that now. So we're going to make that an ivory. And then let's make this a, I don't know, can we get a really pale ballerina pink maybe? There we go. So now we have our 2 cards. Our pocket, we need to create a pocket out of this. And this is, they say a 5x7, but it's actually 5.25 by 7 is your finished size, because you have to have room for that pocket. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to change my width to 5.25. That's going to give me plenty of glue area, okay? And then I'm going to make this 10 1/2, I believe it was. You need it to be at least 7. 7's going to be your base right here. That's going to be the size for this pocket to fit on, okay, where your fold is going to be. So if you want to, it depends on how deep you want your pocket. If you want your pocket to be 3 1/2 inches, you're going to add that to the height. So I want a 3 1/2 inch pocket. I will change my height to 10.5. Okay. Then I'm going to move this in my position tool up here to a 0 and 0 position. Okay, and remember I said that the finished size was 5 1/4 by 7, so I need my score line to be on that 7-inch mark, and that's why we put it to the 0 0 position. I'm going to grab that score line. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to make it 5.25 wide, so it's the same width as my card. And we're going to come up here to position 0, so it's all the way to the left of the card. And then we're going to put it at the 7-inch mark. We're going to select it and attach. So now when we fold this up, we're going to glue right here on this side and on this side. We're going to fold it up, and then we're going to insert this card into the pocket. Okay? And it will sit down in there, giving you a nice little border. Now if you want a 1/4 inch, which you're going to have 1/4 inch over here, if you want that same height, you need to add another point, make it 10.75 high, but then you'll have to move your score mark. I should have done it before now. I forgot to add my 1/4 inch up there. So if you want that same size border here and here, you need to add that. I think you need to add 0.125, not 25. Yes, how deep is the pockets? The pocket can be whatever you want it to be. And if you're going to do cutouts, your cutouts are going to be here. If you want that fancy cuts and things like that, the lace type, you want to cut it on this portion of the card down here below. Wherever you put that score line, this is the height you need, but this score line is going to determine, and what you add to that 7 inches is going to determine how deep the pocket is, if that makes sense. So if I wanted mine 3 1/2, which is what I did, I added 3 1/2 to the 7, and that's where I made it 10 1/2 inches in height. How deep are your pockets? Yep. All right, so that is a pocket card. Super simple, super easy to lay out. They just look complicated, but very, very easy, guys. Very easy. And as far as making this decorative, then all you have to make that like you want it. If you want to slice out some flowers to make it look stencil-like, you can do that. Lots of things you can do. You can even shape that. That's another video. So now we're going to do our gatefold card. Gatefolds are some of the easier fancy folds. So you're going to go in and you're going to get your shape, grab your square, and we're going to make it, we're just working with 10 by 7, which is a 5 by 7 card. And we're going to lock it. Okay? Position tool. Very, very important, guys. Put it on the 0 0. Once you have it up on that 0 0, you're going to grab some score lines. And I'm just going to grab one because I'll just duplicate it. I know that the card is 5 inches tall, so I need 5 inches on that score line. Is it going to change? Oops, 7. I'm sorry. I told him it's 7 inches tall. Woo! It's 5 inches is going to be the width. So I've got my score line, and I know I want it to be at the 0 position. Oop. Bring that back over. My vertical position. Here we go. There. So I've got my vertical position. Now I need my horizontal position, where I want that to be. If it's 10 inches, I know that I've got to take 5 off of that. So that leaves me with another 5 inches of area on my scores. So I need to divide that in half as well. So that leaves me with 2.5 inches. So I'm going to bring that at the 2.5. Okay. And I'm going to select both of them, and I'm just going to flip it horizontal. I'm going to duplicate that score line, without moving anything. I'm just going to go right up to the position tool, and I'm going to put it at a 2.5 again and 0. Super easy, super simple. Select it all and attach. And now I can fold this, and these will fold into the center, and I know that they're going to meet and they're going to be on there. Okay? Super easy, easy, easy. There is another way to do that, and I have shown that before. If you don't care about the top and the bottom, and usually it's cut away, it won't be seen. So I'm just going to detach this. I'm going to get rid of that score line and get rid of that score line. I'm going to grab another square. We're going to make that a 5 by 7 because that is the size of the card. So no matter what size card you're doing, guys, you can figure out where your scores go this way. Okay? So I've got a 5 by 7 right here. I'm going to align it center. And I'm going to come up to this square. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to change it to a score. Now, it's going to score across the top and bottom there, but I know that's where my score lines need to be, so I can move this to the 0 position. And I can take a look. So if I'm doing an odd size card that I don't want to have to do the math for to figure out where those go, I can know what my finished size is and place that in there. Okay? Because I doubled it over here and made it a 10 by 7. So I know that if I make it half of that and I put it there, that's where it's going to go. But when I click on that score line, what the position is 2.5 and 0. And if I flip it horizontal and I look at it again, 2.5 and 0. So that will tell you where your score lines go. All right, super easy for a gatefold. Now comes the more complicated card. Z-folds can be a little bit tricky, especially if you've got an angle on them. If you're not doing an angle on them, then it doesn't matter. And what I mean by an angle, let me come over here to the overhead again. What I mean by an angle is this, where you have the shorter side. That can be tricky, and you can fold it either way. It can go this way too if you want it. Depends on how you want it to open. It can go both ways. It can get tricky on setting that up. So I'm going to show you the way that I found easiest to set these up in Design Space. Let's jump back over there. And I'm going to get a shape, get my square, and I'm going to make it 12 by 12. I know that sounds crazy because we can't cut 12 by 12. And I'm going to make this smaller just so you guys can see it, but my size is the same, okay? I'm just working in a minimized state here. So I have this 12 by 12, and you can see it tells me right here that it's too large. I have to make it smaller. To make this, I'm going to duplicate that square, and I'm going to set it to the side. I'm going to bring this up to the 0, 0 position. I'm just checking, make sure nobody has questions. If you have questions, guys, or I'm going too fast, stop me. I'm going to go in and get a shape, and I'm going to get a score line. I'm going to make this yellow so you guys can see it. So I have my score line here, and I am going to rotate it 90 degrees. And it depends on how tall you want that first panel to be. And I'm usually about 2.5, okay? So I know that the paper is 12. So if I take 2.5 inches off of it, that's going to put me at 10.5. I'm sorry, 9.5. 9.5. All right. So I want to put this on the 0 and the 9.5. Okay. And I'm just going to group that. I know that looks weird. It looks really totally weird, and you're thinking, what is she going to do here? So it just, like I said, it depends on how you want your card. I'm going to unlock this one and stretch it. And then we're going to rotate that. And I need that. I'm going to bring it down. There we go. I need that. I'm going to zoom into it now. To meet right here and right here. And I'm just going to bring it down. And now when it meets here, it doesn't meet here. So I need to rotate that. If I'm not mistaken, it's 345 degrees. Maybe that's what I did. No, that's too much. Let's see. Oh, I know what I did. It's 2.75. Let me go back to my 0, 0. I told you guys wrong. 0, 0. Let me zoom back down. It's 2.75 high, not 2.5. There we go. And I'm going to ungroup that, and I'm going to move that score line to the, gonna take it to 9.25. Is that right? 925. It's 10. Yep. I think that's right. I think I got it right now. Okay. Now I want to rotate this until it reaches both angles at the same time. I'm going to enlarge that just so I can get in there and look and make sure that it's down here. It's meeting right there at that score. And it's not quite. So I'm going to take my rotation up. Oops. Let me get back over there. I just want the one. And I'm going to rotate it maybe 320 and try that. I'm just off just a tiny bit there. No. Well, it usually works for me. Maybe it's because I've got that too big. Maybe. That's more like it. Now, there we go. Let's go in and take a look at it now, wherever it is on my canvas. There we go. Just kind of vanished on me. So now it's meeting right there, and it's meeting up here. Just going to adjust it just a little bit. Then I'm going to ungroup this so I know that I have the right angle that I want, or whatever angle it is that you want. I know what I did. Guys, I'm so ditzy today. Scrap all of that. I know what I did. No wonder I can't get it to line up. Maybe you guys know what I did. I'm going to leave it at 12 inches wide. I needed it 7 inches high. That's my card height. I messed up my card height. I didn't do it. That's why it wasn't working. Duh. I'm just going to line those back to the 0, 0. I'm going to get rid of that and start over with it. We're going to start over. 12 inches long and 7 inches high. We still can't cut it that 12 inches, but that's okay. I'm going to arrange and move that to the back so that we just start over. Okay? And now I'm going to bring that, I'm going to take off 2.75 high off of 7. It's going to make it 4.25. So I'm going to put that at the 4.25 position. It's been a while since I did this. I'm working off of, I usually work off my old bases that I've already made. Let's Let's go to 0, 4.25. There we go. That looks a whole lot better. And I'm going to just group it. I'm going to grab a square. Going to stretch it. There we go. Now we're looking like something. I'm going to bring that down. Let me minimize. And I believe it's 245 degrees, best I remember. Nope. Flip it, maybe. Nope. My 245 is wrong. I don't remember what the degree or the angle used to be. I thought I would remember it. Thought it would come back, but it didn't. Let's go. So you're just going to play with it until you get it to meet this corner and that score line. You don't want to go over it. I think that's it. I think we're there. Yay, I did it. And mine came out to 160 degrees, and I guess it's probably going to be based on the size of your square. And so I'm going to ungroup that, and I'm going to get rid of that score line. That was just to help me. I'm going to select all, and I'm going to slice it. Okay? And I'm going to get rid of all the dark gray. You don't need any of it. It's all trash. And I'm even going to get rid of that. And so now I'm left with my Z-fold base. Okay? Can you use tissue paper? I'm not sure what you mean on that, Marcy. Okay, so now we're going to take this back to the 0, 0 position. And we're going to add our score lines. And we had 12 inches, so we need to divide this into thirds, okay? So a third is going to be 4 inches, so we're going to take that. We're going to get that score line, and we're going to make it at the 4 position. We're going to duplicate it. We're not worried about the bottom yet. We're going to make it at the 8 position. And now we have where our scores are supposed to be. I changed mine to a pen just so I can see exactly where it's supposed to land at the top. Just use my arrow keys and bring it down, and then I'm going to stretch it. Okay, so now it meets top to bottom, and all I'm going to do is use my arrow keys and shift this down until it meets the top there. Change it to a pen just so I can make sure that the score is sometimes hard to see with it being dashed where it starts and stops. So now I have both of those. I'm just going to select them. I am going to change them back to score, and we're going to attach. Done. Now you have a Z-fold base, but it's 12 inches wide and it's not going to cut into design space. So now that we've got our score lines on there, you can change this, unlock it, change it to 11.5, and I was off on my slice by, I don't know, just a hair, but that's okay. I'm going to change it to 7 inches. So now I can lock that. My score lines are where they need to be. They're divided in thirds, and I didn't have to do the math to figure out where they had to go at that 11.5 mark. So super easy, super simple to do. Can you use tissue paper on the pocket card? You can use tissue paper in that pocket card if you want. If you mean like a cover over your card, it'll fit. You can put vellum over the top of it as well. So super easy, super simple. Okay, so how do you make your panels for a card like this? I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to grab a shape. I duplicated it. And I am going to set my square right up. Here we go. Ungroup it. Detach, I mean. Detach. And then I'm looking, the position of that is 6, 3, 4, 7. So I'm going to place this, going to make it big enough to cover everything. And I'm going to put it at the 6.347 mark. I'm going to select the square and the base, and I'm going to slice it. You can only select 2 layers at a time. So I have one there. And then I'm going to arrange. I'm going to move this to the front, or I say I am. Arrange. Oh, got to get another square. Not really. I didn't want to move that piece though. You don't want to move it. There you go. I'm going to arrange. I'm going to send that to the back. And I'm going to take this one. And this is at the 10.181 position. I'm just going to flip this. Make it bigger. You just want it to cover. I hate that those handles disappear. So I said that was at 10.181. Where did I say that was? 10.181. And I'm going to select that one and the other piece, and we're going to slice. And this is now much, and it didn't slice. What's up with that, Design Space? Did I grab the wrong one? There we go. So now I cut the tip off of that one, didn't I? Oh well. It's going to be okay for this. I'm just going to contour it out. You guys make sure you slice yours properly. So you want to make sure you cover the whole thing. These are just extras. Now that we have the offset tool, making panels for these are easy because these are just going to fit directly in there, and that's not what we want. So I want to make it minus 0.125 and apply. And now I have a panel, and you're just going to do that for each one. Okay? And then you have your panels for each card. Love the new offset tool. Before, that would take at least 10 minutes to do. So who has questions on how to lay out your card bases? Anybody have any questions? And just so you guys have it, I have saved that, and now we're going to go in and I am going to get the link. And if you guys want it, I don't know if it's going to let you click it from there. There you go. You can have that so you don't have to set one up. But that is your Z-fold base. Now, I have not tested that, so I don't know if it's the actual, because you can change the angle. You can make it any angle, as steep or as deep as you want it. That's just the way I set this one up. Okay? Super easy, super simple. Does anybody have any other Design Space questions? Anything that you're working on that you don't understand, you need help with? Now is the time to ask so we can show you. And again, I will get the cheat sheet for your cards for all the different sizes and the ways you can fold them. I will get that out to you guys, where they need to be scored, what size they need to be cut at, all that's coming. Can you round the corners on a card? You can, Marcy. Right here. It's easier to use the one in Access, and I'm just going to go show you guys. There's one right here, and there's also a free one. So, I mean, that is the one that you want to work off of. It's easier. Let's see. There it is, right here. It's easier to use this one. I'm just going to say for quick, if you want a quick one that's rounded. However, when you go to double it, to make your rounded corner, let's say 5 by 7, you don't want to do your 10 here. Oops, I'm on the wrong shape here. You don't want to do your 10 here. You want to go 5. You want to go 7. Okay, and lock it. And then you want to duplicate, and you want to butt them up against each other. Align, center. Oops, that's not really what I want to do. I'm going to move this. If you want it perfect, you want to move one to the 0, 0 position, and then you know they're 5 inches wide. You want to move this one to the 5 and the 0. And then you want to select them, and you want to weld. And then you want to put your score line right down the middle. Okay? That's the easiest way to do a rounded corner. Because and the reason that I did it that way is if I make this 10 inches wide, watch what happens to those corners. You see how they start elongating? That's what happens. And then you don't have that dip in the middle that you really need. I didn't see your question, Donna. I'm sorry. All right, so to do it another way, you can unlock your square, make it a 5 by 7, and then you have to decide what you want your radius to be on there. So I'm just going to take that down. And I'm going to align left, align top, okay? And then I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to make sure that it is inside the card here, because I don't want the card to move at this point. And I'm going to align right, align top, and then I'm just going to select both of them and weld. I'm going to duplicate it. I think that moved. You want to make sure that it doesn't move. Align top, align center horizontally. And then this, you want to make sure that it's inside. You want to select it all, align horizontally, and then select just the bottom, align bottom. I know this looks weird. You're going to duplicate it. We're going to take all of our circles, and you're going to weld, and then you're going to slice. Okay, then you're going to get rid of that right there. I know, it looks totally strange. Now you're going to go to contour, and you're going to contour out the middle, leaving you with those corners. You're going to align center and slice, and now you have your rounded corners. Oops, I missed a place right there. Make sure you get it aligned properly. Mine didn't align properly. You can always slice it again and slice that off. But that's how you do a rounded corner if you're not going to be using the one that's already preset in the freebies. How would you cut a hexagon into 6 triangles in Design Space through the points and through the center? Okay, yeah. Super easy. So you're going to get your hexagon. You did say hex, right? Instead of an octagon. So you've got your hexagon and its height. Let's start on the width. I like to do this by the width. And you can see right here that these are off when they come into Design Space. So I make mine equal 7.343. You can take it back down afterwards, but I'm just going to lock it in for now. And you're going to get a shape. You're going to get a score. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. And you are going to make it, what did I say, 7.343? You're going to line center. You want it to cut, so you're going to change that to a cut line also. Oh, you're welcome, Tina. I was just catching up chat, guys. Sorry. Making sure I didn't miss anything. I'm going to change that to a cut. And then I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm going to rotate it 0. Align center. Then I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to say 45 degrees. No, 45 is too much. Is it 35? No, that's not right. And because I'm not going to do it because it will freeze up. I know it's going to freeze up. If you have rotated your score line or your cut line in Design Space and then you try to stretch it, it freezes up and everything goes gray, or mine does. So I'm going to rotate this 90 and duplicate. See, this is why I don't like this new. There's no way to really do it now and get it right, because you can't, if you don't know the angle. That's why I don't know why they did that in Design Space, why they messed with that. You have to know the exact angle, because now I need to get the right angle and I need to stretch it. And if I try to stretch it, see what happens? That's what happens with Design Space. So, I mean, I know what you're getting at, and this might even be easier if it will let me out of there. It won't even let, see, I can't even close out of Design Space. Let me see if I can get a new window. They need to fix that desperately. Whoever changed those handles and all of that in Design Space, I don't know if they really used the design elements, because that is just really, really hard to work with. So this is what I would do, Donna. Actually, this is exactly how I would do it, because your hexagon is off anyway. The shape is off. So I would get a circle, and I would just go in and put in my cut lines, and then place it over the hexagon, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? You try to do the triangles and align them. That can be tricky if you don't know your all the angles. Let's just make this 7 inches and make this easy to work with. And make that 7 inches. So I've got my cut line. All right, and I'm going to align it center. Then I'm going to duplicate it. I can see my duplicate tool over here. Let me shrink down. The new window is too big for me to see it. There we go. I'm going to duplicate it and rotate it 45 degrees. Duplicate it, make it 90. Duplicate it, make it 135. Okay, so that gives me all of my angles. And I'm just going to align center. Okay, so that gives me an absolute right there. So that's exactly what I want, and I can attach those. And then I can come in and bring in my hex. And I can make that 7 inches. Arrange, send it to the back, align, center, and then it's going to cut them like it needs to be cut. If you want it divided equally, that's equal triangles now. But like I said, that's off, so it's not really going to do it on a hexagon. I'd have to think about it. Align, center. And you can see, I mean, it's still because of your points here. Yeah, it's an octagon, so it makes it hard. Like I said, if you know what your angles are, then it's easy. But you're going to have to figure out what your angles are, and they're going to change by the size of your octagon. Oh, I got an octagon, didn't I? Oops. Sorry about that. Got the wrong one, didn't I? Let's change that to 7. But again, it's going to be according to what the angles are and the size. You need to figure out the angles, and then you can resize afterwards, after you get your cut lines on there. Because you can see with the circle, it's all at a 35 degree, 35, 35, 35, I'm sorry, 45, 90, 135. So with the circle, it's easy, but when you get into your hex, it's basically the same thing, but you've got to figure out what your angle is. And it's really hard to do when we can't stretch the line. We could actually make it bigger and come across and then fix it, I guess. Let me detach. So I need to go from that corner to this corner. So that will help me figure out the angle, maybe. 30.29. So if I duplicate it, that doesn't make sense to me, because that one's still got to be 90 degrees. Duplicate it and flip it horizontal. How about that? Does that work for you? So let's align center. What? I love that vanishing thing. I want to get my lines only and attach. Now if I can shrink them in, now that's it. You just got to figure out what the angle is. And for whatever reason, instead of being, I guess, at 30, 60, 90, it wanted to be off a little bit. I don't know why, but it did. But 30, 60, 90 is what it should be. Does that make more sense? It makes more sense when you actually have the octagon and not, I mean the hexagon and not the octagon. That helps. So you could do it with 3 lines instead of doing 6 lines, but. All right, that got that one. So we got our rounded corner ones for Marcy and for Tina. And Donna, we got you with your hexagon lines. Anybody else having any issue with Design Space that you can't figure out? We will figure it out together if we don't know. Now is the time to ask so we can show you. All right, I don't see any more questions. Of course, you can always ask in the group, guys. Thank you to all of my moderators. I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you for helping with the group and on the live videos. Couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you to all my supporters, Patreon and Ko-fi and YouTube memberships. I greatly appreciate you guys too. On Fridays, we are going to be doing some type of tutorial in Design Space rather than a project. And occasionally Escal, when I can go in there and I can study my Escal lesson, we will cover things in that as well. Your offset never works. Toyin, are you on Windows or are you on a Mac or mobile? Because it's not available on mobile. And on Windows, you have to be on Windows 10. And there is a compatibility place. Oh, you're welcome, Pat. There is, you can go in and check. Marianne, there is a post, Toyin, in the group announcements that shows you where to go on Windows 10 and change your compatibility. That may be it. And we also have listed the requirements for offset. I have a video on offset. Let me see if I can pull that up really quick and show you guys. Give me just a second to go in there and grab a screenshot of that. All right, in announcements, and there it is. Right here, Toyin. If you go into your Design Space properties, go to compatibility, run this in compatibility mode. Right here, make sure it's not stuck on Windows 8. It needs to be on Windows 10. Is that correct, guys? I believe that you got to change that to Windows 10. And then apply it down here. As far as getting to your Design Space properties, I'm going to admit I have not been on a Windows computer since Windows 7. I switched over to a Mac, so I don't know anything about where to find that on Windows 8 or 10. Right-click your Cricut icon. I'm reading Marianne's directions. Right-click your Cricut icon on the desktop and select Properties. And that would bring you to this window. Still the same thing. Compatibility should not be checked. Make sure it's unchecked. Toyin, uncheck it. So right click on your Cricut. Right click on your Cricut icon. Go to the properties, go to compatibility, and unmark that. Remove the check mark and apply. If that is not it, then let's see. Gonna go down to help at Cricut. And we're gonna go and type in, let's go to, let's go to Design Space and type in offset. Desktop only. Are you on a 64-bit computer or higher? If you're on a 64-bit, make sure you are not in the old canvas. Make sure you're in new canvas in Design Space. So you have to come in here and come to settings and make sure that you're in new right here. Yes, it's still in beta and they're working on the issues. They know that there's an issue, but they went ahead and released it early so that we could start playing with it. So make sure you're checking all of those things. Right here, your canvas is set on new. And right now, that's the only fixes that we know of, guys. As they come in and we learn more, we will post those in announcements for you. So make sure that all of those things are clicked in there. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me. Please send some hearts, some stars, or thumbs ups. Anything. Please leave your comments. Comments, comments, comments. Please, please, please. And we will catch you on Monday. We will be going live on, I believe that's our next live. Yes, we will be live on the 12th. That is going to be a project night. We will be putting something together, but we always, always, always answer Design Space questions. We always take them. We always answer them. We'll cover anything you guys need help with. Okay? So you guys have a great night, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.